All right, so another week, another top five matchup in college football. That's been a theme for 2024 so far, and I love it. This week, we've got number five Georgia traveling to Austin to take on the number one Texas Longhorns. And I just hope that this game can live up to the same standard of Alabama and Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State. I know those are lofty standards, but those are the standards associated with 2024. There have been a litany of amazing games this year, so you just come to expect them week by week. Like if a week goes by and you see at least one instant classic matchup, you kind of scratch your head like, is this really still 2024? Because that's the standard. We're becoming spoiled as fans with these amazing one possession, 1 point games, these shootouts, dragouts. I hope this game is exactly that because it's how it's being advertised. Talk about Georgia a little bit. Let's admit it. Georgia's looked a little bit off this year. They haven't looked as Georgia as they've had in past years. There's certain things that I have known Georgia to be good at these past several years. One of them is running the ball. I've always associated running the ball well, being ground and pounds as being part of Georgia's identity. I've always associated that with the brand of Georgia football. That has not been up to the par of Georgia standards this year. They're 89th in the country in rushing yards per game at 127.6. That's got to get better. That's the bottom tier of the nation. That's not only below Georgia standards, but that's below the standards of college football itself. Georgia also doesn't get takeaways the way they've had in past years. They rank 108th in the nation when it comes to those. That's how Georgia has been able to tilt the point differential in their favor these past several years. Is just taking the ball away and getting the ball in your possession and then capitalizing on that possession to get at least three, if not seven. Most of the time, them Georgia Bulldogs are getting seven these past several years. And also, I've asked this question after the Alabama game, and I'm going to ask it again because I still don't have an answer. Who is Georgia's star? These past several years, you've had Brock Bowers, you've had Ladd McConkey, you've had Jalen Carter, you've had Jordan Davis. Who's the star this year? Who's that one standout player on Georgia that you're like, yeah, that guy, like that's bona fide first round pick, no doubt in my mind. There's nobody on that team right now where I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. That guy's gonna play on Sundays and he's gonna start on Sundays. There's not that one guy differentiating himself from others, and that may change. This may be a game where you see one or two or maybe three Georgia players start to separate themselves from the pack. The key for Georgia in Austin on Saturday, you cannot get off to a slow start. That's been the name of the game for Georgia these past several weeks. Against Alabama, buried themselves very quickly. Against Auburn, just sluggish on offense in the first half. Mississippi State first half is never really getting into a rhythm on offense. And I know it sounds like I'm being very hard on Georgia right now, and that's because I am. That's because I have a very high standard for Georgia. You know, I'm like a teacher, and like these teams are like my students. You know, the ones that don't perform as well. Like I give some credit to, like, hey, this is your ceiling. This is where you can reach. You got a lot of potential. Let's capture it. But if you're somebody that's won two national championships in this short decade, you're that star student. I'm gonna hold you to a high standard, and I hold Georgia to a very high standard right now that I think that they can fulfill. Also, with this game, you cannot turn the ball over early. Georgia turned the ball over a lot the last time they played a top 10 ranked team. They went to Tuscaloosa. Turned the ball over a lot. And it's the reason why Alabama won. If Georgia doesn't turn the ball over a multitude of times that game, Georgia wins. And there's no doubt in my mind about that. So keep the ball out of Texas's hands. Do not turn the ball over, especially on your own side of the field. Do not let that momentum tilt. And start to lean a little bit more into your identity. open up the passages with the run game and then dive into play action. Have a cadence on offense. Offensive line, prevent that pressure so that Carson Beck can get into a rhythm. And if you're, I don't want to be that guy that gives advice to coaching staffs, but if you're on the offensive side of the ball, either offensive coordinator or assistant for Georgia, let's start this game off a lot with some short passes, some slants, some button hooks. Get Carson Beck into a rhythm, and then go for it. Get Carson Beck comfortable, get the machine rolling, and get some crucial stops on defense. That's how Georgia stays in this thing. Texas, they look like the best team in the nation. But they're one of those teams whose statistics I think are a little bit inflated just because of who they played. They've allowed 38 points all year. Not in a single game, all year. With Georgia, it looks like it's been just hard to move the ball in a lot of these games. Texas, they move the ball with relative ease. And Texas reminds me of a championship team in the way that they're so detail-oriented and so complete that you have to play a near-perfect game and completely minimize your mistakes to beat them. They're such a hard team to beat, especially at home. It's not so much about matching up with Texas's weapons because that offense is full of them. You've got to just minimize the pace, and you've got to keep pace on your own offensive side of the ball if you want to play in Texas, because they are going to be a tough out. Georgia's got to get some turnovers in this game. You got to lean back into their identity on that side of the ball as well. Be a little bit more scrappy on defense. Force those turnovers. Get some interceptions, some fumbles going. Slow down the pace of that Texas offense and pick up the pace of your own. That's how Georgia wins this game. However, in Austin, in DKR, give me Texas to win this thing, 38-30. The point spread right now is Texas -5. I think that they cover in this game. And I think that this is Texas's statement win of the year and statement win of the SEC thus far. And if Georgia loses, it's not over. Georgia is a very good, very talented football team, very well-coached football team. And even if they lose this game, I have no doubt they can remain in playoff contention, especially since Texas is ranked #1 in the country. But Texas just seems like they're beating to the tune of a different drum right now. And I see them pulling this thing off. But I cannot wait for hopefully another classic on Saturday night on ABC. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you and the time that you took out of your day to watch the video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and share it, as well as subscribe to The Era. The more likes and subscribers I get on this channel, the more resources I can attain, and the more resources I can attain, the more value I can provide to you, the viewer. And that is how I show my appreciation for you for the time that you devote to watching my videos. So thank you so much, and have a great day.